help other people with that. So I really decided like this was a shift from helping people to survive, let's say, with needs around water, shelter, food, to needs around inner safety, worthiness, confidence, a healthy relationship.
Welcome to the Phase 4 podcast, inspired by Vishen Lakiani and Ajit Nawalkar, co-founders of EverCoach, a division of Vine Valley. In this podcast, we speak to coaches and creatives about where they were, where they are, and where they are going. This is the intersection of what we focus on expands, and your story is your superpower. My guest today is Pauline Busson. She is a love and relationship coach, and today we're going to talk about all of it. And Pauline, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you. It's nice to be here, JP.
Yeah, thank you. I'm definitely grateful. I wonder if you can share with us what inspired you to focus on helping, I think specifically single women, become fully available in relationships.
Oh, what inspired me? Well, it could be a long story and maybe we tap into that later on. But I guess it's definitely my own story because I was single for many years, almost 10 years, and I struggled quite a bit. And then when I started getting different tools and different perspectives, on like collecting keys, collecting the foundation on what makes the journey to love easier, actually simple, I thought I absolutely need to share this for women who want this, who want to create a loving relationship and sooner than later.
Yeah, I love it. And so maybe, can you tell us a little about your background before you got into that, or how you ended up getting in that space?
Okay, yes. I love that your podcast centers around the story. So if I start way back, I'm third culture kid, so I grew up abroad. Then my first career was as a humanitarian worker. So I worked with the UN, the Red Cross, different NGOs around the world. So my passion was really justice and aid and serving. But so I did this for more than 10 years, actually 13 years, yeah. But at some point I had a first shift. I was feeling drained and tired because there was so much stress, working in conflict zone and food crisis, epidemic, not having much space for my personal life. So I went to yoga. Yoga was a tool that really helped me stay grounded throughout those years. And so after a mission, I decided, I want more of that. So I started doing retreats, and then I decided to become a yoga teacher really for myself. So I went to India and trained as a yoga teacher. So initially for myself, really to give myself the space and restore, ground, connect with myself. But then I was hooked by the tools. I thought this was so powerful, this peace of mind, those tools. I was like, oh my God, I need to do more of that. So I went on this new path, dropped the humanitarian world for about 2 years and went into living in ashrams in India, in the US, to study more and to teach yoga. And also, teaching yoga, training upper yoga teachers. I have different projects in prisons or in the Middle East with that. And I don't know how in detail I go into the story. It's great, yeah. And through that, at some point, I came back into working as a manager for Doctors Without Borders in West Africa. So I got back to my previous career, but I always had those tools with me, this desire to connect with myself. And I joined a course that was around self-love, that was around pleasure, that was around confidence. And this online course, just a couple of weeks, really blew my mind and made me decide, okay, this time I'm really done with management, with this first career that I loved, but I want to focus on self-development. I want to learn more about managing my emotion, about developing my self-worth, around working with self-love. And I want to learn that for myself, but I want to help other people with that. So I really decided like this was a shift from helping people to survive, let's say, with needs around water, shelter, food, to needs around inner safety, worthiness, confidence, a healthy relationship. So there was a thread in those, let's say, 3 parts of my life. But yeah, that evolved over time. And because of my own story, struggling in relationship, that's why when I did my coaching certification, that was about sex, love, and relationship, when it was the time to choose, what was the focus, I was like, it's going to be dating, love, relationship for single women, because I really know the issue, because I struggle myself so much. So I really know what it is about, and I really want to laser in the solution to help this group.
That's awesome. I love it. So your character strengths, justice, service, love. And then you were talking almost about Maslow's hierarchy. At the beginning, you're trying to just get basic shelter and needs. Then slowly you're moving up to it.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah. One thing I love about coaching, and it seems like everyone else, almost definitely 90% of the coaches is the same, is that you do the work on yourself and then you feel so good that you're like, I need to share this with everybody else.
Exactly.
That's what you're doing?
Yeah. That was always my, what happened for me when I decided to shift. So obviously I come from a more privileged background. I was never in a humanitarian aid-like population, but what took me to the yoga first and then to the coaching was, yes, being, receiving the tools, feeling the tools, and being like, yes, I absolutely want to share that with more people.
Yeah, I'm also hearing a little bit of like a Buddha nature in it, where Buddha's inside the walls, you're saying privilege a little bit, and then you, from all this service, you're traveling around the world seeing the worst situations that humanity has to offer and realizing, oh, it's not all rainbows and unicorns, but now you're giving back by doing that. I have a question maybe that's about like, so relationships, right? How does that look post-pandemic? So like there's a whole gap, and you can take any age group, right? So let's say 17, 18 to 21. Those people were locked down and they missed like some serious years of their lives. And now not even physical relationships, but even just hanging out with friends, like that was gone. I don't know how it is where you were, but here it was just forget it. So now I can see struggling, and you know what? I wasn't going to say it, but the reason this is popping up so much is I had a really good friend of mine just commit suicide, 36 years old. And it's like, man, I wish you just called me or somebody, like, because at that lowest point, it's really easy. But if you can just get through to the next day, things might start to change. And so I know that this reason that this guy did this is because of the pandemic, because he was locked down, because everything's gone. So I'm wondering what would that look like in relationships, or do you see that?
That's an interesting question. I didn't really see that coming so much. But for me, this is really my life philosophy is what you, and I love your question about, what you focus on expands. So I think that's, look, you have choices. Yeah, it's a tough question. It's a tough question because you can go in different directions, right? You can go into, this is the lockdown, I don't have friends, and you can go into the downward spiral. Or, and I'm sure a lot of people went into that direction, and we can talk about the pandemic and how people saw COVID and how people, how they let the life happen to them, And I know this depends on the condition you have, the mental health conditions, the material condition, maybe, where you live, if you live in a big city. And then there's another group, I would say, who could see, okay, maybe it's an opportunity. How can I transform these circumstances for me and now not be a victim of the circumstances, But I know it's not given for everybody. This is why I talk about the conditions, and this is coming, you were talking about Buddha nature in Buddhism, and I'm thinking about, Zen, mindfulness. We talk about, we can say we have conditions that we have our genetics, we have our background, we have our conditioning, and it's not the same for everybody. So not everybody has this resilience to take life and transform it for them. But this is why I think it's wonderful that there are people, like you, like coaches, healer, and it's also wonderful that in this age, okay, yes, there's COVID, there's pandemic, but there's also internet. And if you turn it into a powerful medium, this is putting, enabling, people who are out there able to help people spread their message in a really wide range, mental health tool that were not available before. Now, if you're alone, to go back to, yes, you're alone, you're locked down for weeks, months, a long time. Yes, then you can go to YouTube and to Instagram, and depending what you focus on, depending if you focus on things to entertain yourself or if you focus on self-development, on growing, on discovering yourself, it can be, this is going to change. This is what it's going to influence really you is what you focus on. And I had the example of my mother being locked down, in March 4 years ago. And she decided to join a Kundalini course on Instagram. Every day there was a woman teaching 1 hour of Kundalini yoga. And my mother, 70-year-old, decided to do that. And after 1 month of pandemic, she was feeling great. So I don't know if I answered exactly your question. It was a really wide.
Yeah, no, it's a tough one. I probably shouldn't have asked, but it's like, it's just really fresh and raw. But you're right. Like, it's fixed mindset, growth mindset. How do you look at the world? And that for me, when we went into it, that was one thing for me right away. I was like, I need to, no matter what, I'm going to come out of this better than I'm going in. And so I had that mindset the whole time. And like you said, opportunity, right? I'm like, here's an opportunity. Now you can read all the books, take all the courses. I saw an 87-year-old in Toronto. She finished her master's degree during COVID.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And that's empowering. And you speak about empowerment. That's a theme that you teach and that you concentrate on for women. So can you maybe talk about that and elaborate on that?
Yeah, absolutely. For me, this is, one of the driving factor. When we talk about empowerment is realizing that you have power over your life. No matter what your circumstances are, and whether you focus on your circumstances and go into, oh, this is happening for me, oh, I'm in this background, oh, I have this, or, okay, how can I transform this? So it's about, I think there's two ways we can look at. There is empowerment in discovering yourself, in discovering and then accepting, embracing, loving who you are, your qualities, what make the core of you as a unique human being, because we're all unique. We all have something to bring into this world. So this is the focus on yourself, I would say. And there's so much work that you could do to peel layers of conditioning and of emotion and shame and whatever. But so there is finding who you are and then connecting to what you want to do in life, connecting with your purpose. Okay. And then seeing how you can create that, not waiting for life to happen to you, not waiting for somebody to bring it to you, but like, how can I get there? So there is a need for clarity in what you want in life, whether it's a loving relationship, whether it's a child, whether it's traveling abroad, whether it's changing careers. So being very clear on your desire. And I think this is a very important element in empowerment, knowing what you want, and then taking responsibility. That's a huge element, being intentional in making it happen.
Yeah, for sure. I had a series, it's called 12 Steps to a Spiritual Awakening, which happened to me. And then I started finding out this is happening to other people. And like, okay, so it's not just me. One of them was take responsibility for your life. And the second you do that, things begin to change and shift. And acceptance too, right? Like, I think what happens, we look at other people or you see someone on Instagram or social media and you think like their life's so perfect. And really they're showing you like one picture, like a drop in the ocean, literally. Yeah. You kind of touch on it, but a question is like a lot of relationships advice, it seems to revolve around finding the right partner. Mm-hmm. And how do you shift the focus from finding the right person to like, it's more about yourself, is that right?
Absolutely. Yeah. Again, it's taking responsibility. And in the dating sphere, it's easy to focus on, the apps, they're so bad, or the man behind the apps, or COVID, like to blame, to be in a blaming mentality. And same as wanting somebody outside to be right. But when you start this journey of self-discovery, of loving yourself, of seeing yourself as worthy of the relationship you desire. So of course, as earlier I was talking about being clear on your desire, yes, you want to know what you want to have in a relationship and what the right, quote unquote, partner looks like, more in terms of qualities, in terms of values, than in terms of more superficial criteria. But so, yes, it's important to know what you want, but then it's important to come up from what really is the game changer is coming from a place of worthiness, of like, I know I am worthy of love in general, and I'm worthy of the relationship I want. And then developing this inner trust that I will have my back no matter what. Those two elements are what's going to help you taking steps, being proactive in meeting people and not falling into drama, not falling into blaming, not falling into victim mentality, but being really empowered in your journey, in really transforming the relationship you have with yourself, being really anchored, solid. You're going to attract naturally people who see who you are. And here I go back to knowing who you are and your qualities and owning them. Because if you're really firm in who you are, then you allow yourself to be seen. You allow yourself to present your qualities and people will see you not as a Wonder Woman without flaws. Absolutely not. And I talk about women, but it would be the same for men. But as somebody who owns who they are, and this is where magnetism is, when you are really living in your own skin, regardless of the kind of body you have, instead of shaming yourself, attacking yourself and, having an extra kilo or a few wrinkles, but being like, this is me, and when I say this, I'm opening my chest, I'm feeling proud and confident. And when you show up like this, naturally, people see you, and people who are in the same, who want the same thing as you and who want a person like you will see you, so you create the condition for the right person to come into your life. And when you are feeling worthy and when you want people who, you are going to attract people who treat you well, who you're not going to accept crumbs. You're not going to battle for validation. So all this drama is out the door, is not in your life because you're not letting it happen because you're acting from a place of worthiness.
Yeah, I love it. It's a mirror, right? However you send it out, that's how it's going to come back. And I think Joe Dispenza talks about this saying that thoughts are electric. So you send out the thought, but it's the emotion that you attach that will magnetize it back to you. So if you're feeling lack, shame, pain, blame, you're going to see it. It's going to come back. But it's also the other way, where if you're feeling just pure love and you're sending that out, you're attracting that back to you as well. And that's where you'll see it. So I believe that 100% the whole world is a mirror. And it's kind of nuts because you're having this subjective experience of your world. No one else is having it. But then it reflects outside of you, which is wow.
Yeah, absolutely.
And so I think I ask everyone this question. This is a phase 4, or you know what? Before that, let's go into your coaching actually a lot more. So tell me about your coaching, what it looks like to work with you.
Okay. So what it looks like is we embark on a journey. One-on-one coaching is, I do different offerings, but the one-on-one coaching is the one I focus on. And so it's really, there's two parts. There's one that I call it's rewiring your relationship blueprint. It means understanding, identifying what are your patterns in relationship, who you tend to attract, how you show up, how your relationship ends, what triggers you, etc. Understanding where it's coming from somehow. And usually it's coming from a wounds around worthiness and around trust, and working on healing these wounds at the core so that you change your pattern, so that you show up differently and you attract different partners. So this is really the first part that is not therapy, but really it's deep inner work. And it's really about your relationship to yourself and relationship with life, And the second part is learning to deal with your mind, with your thoughts, and with your emotions so that you take on the dating journey in the most empowering way and in a way that you don't get sucked into the drama. And when there is any challenges, because challenges will come up, or setbacks or disappointment, you know how to deal with them. And through that, you develop skills of like, yes, working with your thoughts, so not taking things personally, not making assumptions, coming back to supportive narrative, and dealing with your emotions, like accepting to feel sadness, to feel anxiety, but knowing how to transform that and not get sucked into a deep hole and spend weeks to recover from being ghosted, or months from getting heartbroken. But how can you rebound using that as a lesson, transforming this for you to come out stronger on the other end?
Yeah, that's amazing. I heard a couple, Don Miguel Ruiz right in there. Have you ever read The Four Agreements?
Yes, absolutely. I wrote something actually about the Four Agreements on the path to dating.
Wow. Yeah, so don't take things personally. Don't assume. Be impeccable with your
words. Exactly.
Do your best you can. Earlier you said something about the how instead of worrying about what other people think and getting sucked into the drama, right? So Eleanor Roosevelt has a great quote. It says, "Great minds discuss ideas, average minds discuss events, and small minds discuss people." And so if you're getting sucked into the drama, maybe you should think about events or ideas instead.
Yeah.
And Wayne Dyer has one. It says, if you change the way you look at things, the things you look at will change. And that's
absolutely
so true.
Yeah.
So now to the question. Phase 4, this is Phase 4 podcast, and Phase 4 in the 6th phase meditation by Vishen Lakhiani is all about creating your future 3 years from today. So where is Pauline 3 years from today?
I love this question. 3 years from today, I think I'm still living the same life in the way that I'm balanced between my personal life. I'm a mother, I'm a young mother, not so young, but young mother in terms of my child is just 4 months. I'm 45-year-old, so I'm not a young mother in that sense. But balance between my professional life that I love and my personal life that I also love. This is already there, and I'm so grateful, and I want to keep that. I live in nature. I take care of my body. I take care of myself. I nourish myself. So I'm really keeping this. And I also, want to stay in this world of coaching. So maybe the difference from now is I'm reaching a bigger audience. I'm allowing more people to tap into who they are really and living their purpose and having an awesome life, and maybe what I would love to do is expanding beyond dating and relationship and going to more confidence, still focusing on women, but making those tools, as we're talking at the beginning of the podcast, making it available to a maximum of people, because everybody needs to know how to manage their mind, how to manage their emotions, so they go through life in an easier way, and so that they can create what they want and go after what they want in a powerful way.
Yeah, for sure. What are some tools you use personally to manage your mind, manage your emotions?
Yeah, well, tools, different tools around mindset, for example, Byron Katie's work is very important in Brooke Castillo model. So there's very much tools, but I would say starting with awareness. Awareness is the first thing for everything. Awareness around your thoughts. So through meditation, I came into this work of coaching through yoga and meditation. So sitting and observing what's going on in your own landscape, in your mind. So observing your thoughts and then making kind of an inventory. Do I want to keep this one? Does this one bring me joy? Or is this one bringing me down? And so this one, no. Is this one true? Which one do I choose? So this awareness is the first step to put you in a place of, agency and power over your thoughts. And then about emotions is also awareness, but awareness about your body sensations. So when you're feeling a challenging emotion, allowing yourself, even though your system is shouting, don't feel, go on Netflix, go on Instagram, eat ice cream, do something else. Like, no. Pause everything and allow yourself to feel this anger or to feel this sadness or to feel this fear. Just sit with it. How does it feel? And changing that already allows, your animal body to be like, to move that energy to come out of this energy and say, oh, I can survive this. I can survive being anxious, being afraid, being sad. I can survive it. And so you become more and more familiar with your own body, and you start really living in it. And there's not so much blockages.
Yeah, no, I love that. So the idea of sitting with your emotions, it does a couple of things. It's a signal. So it's telling you something about yourself. Like if you see something that makes you angry somewhere else, there's something in you that's doing that. Like otherwise you wouldn't care, right? If I call you an apple, you don't care. But if I call you a bad name, maybe it's offensive because something in your past. The other thing about that is that if you sit with those emotions, they'll move through you. And like you're saying, instead of trying to avoid them, and when you're avoiding them, they're just really shoving them back down. And then they're going to come back again. They're always going to keep coming back. Some scar, as they call them in yogic science. But the idea of just moving through it. I heard one time that it takes like 90 seconds if you sit with it to move right through you. And so we got this dog, and the dog wouldn't let anyone touch her. And so I was holding the dog, and I'm like, I'm going to try this on the dog. And so I just held her, and she was growling like nonstop for the whole 90 seconds. After 90 seconds, she stopped growling.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. And just to add on that, what's sad is that this is really what we are afraid of, is to feel those emotions. We're often not aware of that. We think it's something else that's blocking us. But yeah, refusing to feel, for example, on the path to love, dating, refusing to feel rejected is not an emotion, but to feel, bad, this feeling of being rejected is going to block you from taking action. So you're not going to go after what you want because you don't want to feel discomfort. Same thing for creating things, in your business, or for going after what you want that maybe triggers some fear or some nervousness. We're not going to do it because we don't want to feel this. So just go feel the discomfort and see that where it takes you.
Yeah.
And then you can go do it again and again and again and become comfortable with the discomforts, with the discomforts.
Yeah. I love that. Feel the fear and do it anyway.
Yes.
So as we begin to wind down, if this episode resonates with you, please like, subscribe, share, but no hard sell, and reach out to Pauline. You can tell from this conversation, I'm sure you got a good idea of who she is, what she's all about, and she's definitely a light worker. I'm grateful that she's with us today. And I guess before I kind of ask my final questions, in terms, I know you said awareness, but like for someone to start, right? So they have the awareness that they're like, okay, it's not other people, it's me, and I need to do some work. Now what? Now what do they have to do?
Okay. I would really want to make it easy for people to start because, when we think about therapy or coaching, it can seem sometimes overwhelming. So just sit down, take 5 minutes, take a paper, focus, start on like, what do you want in your life? Writing your desires. And it can be small desires, material desire, or huge one. I want a partner. I want to learn a new language. I want to love my body. I want, sit down, write a list of your desire, make it a general practice. I could go into many other practices, but this is what comes to me when I listen to your question. And make it easy, make it 5 minutes. Take those 5 minutes every day for you. And maybe one day you write about your desire. Maybe one day you write about what's moving through you. Maybe you're angry about something, so you write down, starting to bring this awareness. And I think having a piece of paper or your computer, putting it outside of you helps to start creating awareness, to create a perspective. And from there, you can do something about it. So whether it's a list of desires, so, okay, next step will be, how do I get there? Whether it's like an issue you had with somebody, okay, how do I move through that? You're going to find the answer when you start sitting with what is moving through you. Either it's a challenge, either it's a desire, either it's a need that needs to be met.
Yeah, 100%. I would add to that, that when you're doing those dreams, dream big, and don't worry about the how. The how is, Les Brown says, the how is none of your business. Your job is to make the dream. And so, I definitely love it. One thing that I almost glossed over is that you just said you had a baby and you're 45 years old.
Yeah.
So first of all, congratulations. But second of all, for all the women, like there's a real big limiting belief that once you're 35,
Yes.
you're kind of done.
Yes.
And so,
Yes. And I want to blow that belief. Of course, we cannot never guarantee. And I want to add that I was diagnosed with what's called low ovarian reserve, meaning like from 35, I was told it's going to be challenging to have a baby and I should hurry up. And I was single at the time. And this felt really hard for me for many years. And I was going for adoption, and I'm still maybe going for adoption. But what's really like, I want to share that I never stopped believing that it was possible, that I could have a baby naturally. And I had failed IVF and I had the baby naturally. It comes out naturally at 44-year-old. I became pregnant naturally when the odds were against me. So don't believe things, like trust, go after your dreams, keep believing. It might happen. It might happen. And biology, we can never prove, but loving relationship, for sure you can create them, and many other things you want in life.
wow, that's fascinating, right? That a doctor told you that you'll never do this, and then you did it anyway. It's the same thing happened to me. I was stuck. I have a tumor in my spine. I was in chronic pain. I was in a mobility scooter, taking 33 pills a day. Some doctors said you'll never have kids. Some said you're never going to play sports again. And last year I ran 2 marathons, and it's just like, okay, forget what the doctor says.
Yes, blow your limitations. Yes.
And with that, both of your story and my story. So you said you always had the belief, right? So there's the magic, there's the elixir. And same with me. I tried about 20 different modalities, from surgery, radiation, nerve blocks. I almost put this spinal cord stimulator. It's like a TENS unit inside my back. But I tried like 20 different things. But I always had it in my mind that there's an answer out there. And I believe that I'll be cured one day. And that even if that answer wasn't invented at the time, that event, like, it will be invented later, right? So this is a long journey for me. Started in 2009. It was a decade. But I always believed that there's an answer. And I kept going and finding it. And then I found it. And it just happened to be that it had nothing to do with doctors. But I think yours is the same, right? You always had that belief. And so easily the other way, if you believe, oh, I'm never going to get better, then the same thing will happen or manifest.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And because I work with women who are struggling in their relationship, this is a key part, is like, I don't believe it can happen. And we work on that. We work on building the belief that it is possible. And one question that I have for them, that I will have for people listening to the podcast, is why not? Why not?
Yeah. I used to always say, why me? And I literally, at the end, when I started getting better, I said, why not me? Like, because why can't I get better?
Exactly. Yeah.
Awesome. And so before I ask my final question, I always let the guests take it wherever they want. So if you have something to sell, sell it. If you have a piece of wisdom that you want to share, a message of hope, anything else going on, what university you're going to go to?
Wow. Yeah. I love this question. It's really open. So what comes to me right now, what's inspiring me right now, is the word, I would say, authenticity, is connecting to your heart. And I think humanity would be better if we were all connecting to that heart energy. And so you can approach it through different ways, through healing, and keep coaching and peeling all the layers, all the veils that are preventing you to be with that heart energy. But you can also just tap into that. And this is why I go back to the desire, because I think the desire are also being expressed through your heart. And this is, like, beauty will come out when you listen to yourself, to your heart, to what is important to you, what you want to bring into the world. And if everybody was living from the heart, from the abundance, from this energy, I think the world will be a bigger place, a different place, a more beautiful one, for sure.
Amazing. I totally agree. And my final question is, how can people reach you?
Well, people can reach me. There is my website with my name, paulinebusson.com. Instagram is the platform where I'm the most active those days. I'm also on Facebook, LinkedIn. But yeah, reach me out through message, book a free consult if you want to talk about how we can work together in creating loving relationships. So yeah.
Amazing. Pauline, I'm so grateful for your time today. This was awesome. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, JP, for the invitation. I really enjoyed the conversation.